O gentle Saint Anthony of Padua, faithful servant of Christ and tireless helper of souls in distress, I come before you with a heart trembling between hope and urgency. My voice rises in this sacred moment, not as a whisper of despair but as a cry of trust, believing that your compassion never fails and your intercession never delays. You who once walked with humility yet carried heaven's power in your hands, draw near to me now as a friend, as a brother, as a protector. In the silence of my spirit, I open the doors of my need, laying before you the weight I can no longer carry alone. With every breath, I call on your name, Saint Anthony, not only because you are known as the worker of wonders but because you reveal the tenderness of God's love to those who are desperate. Today I ask you to look upon my request with mercy, to lift my heart to the throne of God, and to let the miracle I seek descend like rain upon dry land. O Saint Anthony, beloved friend of the poor and defender of those who have no strength left, I turn to you with a heart wide open, filled with both fear and faith, carrying the burden of an urgent need that weighs upon my soul. In the silence of this moment, I dare to believe that you are near me, listening to my cry, wrapping my brokenness with your compassion, and carrying my request into the heart of God. The heavens know your name, for your life was a song of faithfulness and your words ignited hope wherever despair had settled. You became a reflection of Christ's mercy, a light in the darkness, and today I cling to that same light, trusting that you will not let me fall into hopelessness. Life at times feels like a storm with waves that crash violently against my spirit. Each day brings trials, unexpected battles, and sorrows that feel too heavy to endure alone. Yet even in these turbulent waters, my soul lifts its eyes toward you, Saint Anthony, because you have always been a sign that God listens, that heaven bends close to earth, and that miracles are real. How many men and women long before me came with broken hearts, with lost causes, with tears too heavy to speak aloud, and found in your intercession a path of light. Their testimonies remain, reminding me that I am not abandoned, that my plea is not too small nor my need too great. You are the saint who stands beside the suffering, and I come to you with the boldness of a child running to a father, convinced that your love will hear me. I am here not because I deserve, but because God's mercy flows through you like a river that never runs dry. You, Saint Anthony, know what it means to walk in holiness and yet remain close to the struggles of ordinary people. You knew hunger, you knew sickness, you knew the weight of human weakness, and yet you surrendered all into the hands of Christ. That surrender became your power. It is why you are remembered as the miracle worker, not because of your own strength, but because you allowed divine love to move freely through you. And now I place myself within that same love, asking that through your prayer, the grace of God will move into the broken places of my life. Saint Anthony, today I place before you my urgent need. You know it already, for heaven sees into the depths of every heart. But I name it in faith, trusting that speaking it aloud is the first step toward healing, restoration, and deliverance. My soul trembles with the longing for resolution, for breakthrough, for the miracle that will open a new path when all doors seem locked. I do not ask lightly, nor do I seek selfish gain. What I ask is born from the place of true desperation, from the deep recognition that only God, through your intercession, can accomplish what my own strength has failed to achieve. Look kindly upon this request, Saint Anthony. Take it as your own and place it at the feet of Christ, whose wounds are fountains of mercy and whose heart never refuses the cry of the poor. There are nights when sleep flees from me, when the weight of my circumstances crushes my spirit, and I wonder if hope has left me forever. In those dark hours I remember you, Saint Anthony. I remember how you spoke of God's tender love, how you lifted the downtrodden and reminded the forgotten that they were precious in His eyes. I cling to that memory and turn it into prayer. I whisper your name in the silence, asking you to walk beside me, to strengthen my faith when fear tries to swallow me whole, and to guide me toward the miracle I desperately await. For I believe that heaven has no limit, that grace is stronger than despair, and that what seems impossible to man is but a small thing in the hands of God. I ask you, beloved saint, to take my hand as I walk through this valley of uncertainty. Let my steps not falter. Let my courage not vanish. Let my hope not be stolen by the lies of doubt. Speak to my heart as you once spoke to countless others, reminding me that God's timing is perfect, that His love is unfailing, and that His power is beyond measure. Teach me to rest in that truth even as I plead for urgency. For though I long for immediate relief, I also long for faith that endures, faith that is not shaken by delays, faith that believes even in the silence. Help me grow in that kind of faith, Saint Anthony, even as I wait for the miracle I seek. My tears, though hidden from many, are not hidden from you. Each drop of sorrow, each sigh of pain, each silent cry in the night is heard by heaven, and I know you carry them before the Lord with the gentleness of a true shepherd. I offer them to you now, not as weakness but as an act of trust, believing that even my brokenness can become the soil where God plants new life. Saint Anthony, let my suffering not be wasted. Let it become a testimony of God's mercy. Let it transform into a witness of divine intervention, so that when the miracle arrives, others too may see and believe that God is faithful and that your intercession is powerful. In this moment of prayer, I surrender not only my request but my entire being. I give to God through you my fears, my doubts, my impatience, and my longing. I ask that He may shape me even as He prepares the answer. Let this time of waiting not destroy me but strengthen me. Let it purify my faith, ignite my hope, and deepen my love for Christ. And when the miracle comes, and I believe it will come, let my heart never forget this journey, never forget the tears, never forget the way you walked with me through the valley into the light. Saint Anthony, friend of souls, miracle worker, intercessor, hear me as I lift this urgent plea to heaven. Do not delay in bringing my request before the Lord. Intercede with boldness as you have done for so many before me, and let the grace of God descend into my life with power and mercy. I believe, I trust, I hope. Saint Anthony, holy guardian of those who carry unbearable burdens, I lift my heart once again in this moment of faith. I know that my plea is not hidden from you. I know that my tears are not ignored by heaven. You who walked the earth with such tenderness were called the friend of the sorrowful because your presence brought comfort where there was only despair. That same tenderness I beg of you now. Look upon me with the same compassion with which you once looked upon the poor, the sick, and the forgotten. For I too am weary, and I too am in need of the miracle that only God, through your powerful intercession, can bestow upon me. When I think of your life, I see a man who surrendered everything into the arms of Christ. You chose poverty, humility, and simplicity, yet the heavens crowned you with miracles that defied human explanation. Through your voice, demons fled. Through your hands, the sick were healed. Through your prayers, lost things were restored. It is no wonder that the world calls you the wonder worker. And so I come to you not with pride but with desperate hope, asking that you allow that same river of divine power to flow once again. This time into my life, this time into my circumstances, this time into the darkness that surrounds me. There is a heaviness in my spirit that no one else can fully understand. It is a weight that presses upon me in the quiet of the night and follows me through the hours of the day. Yet I am not ashamed to bring it to you, Saint Anthony, for I know that you do not despise the broken-hearted nor reject the weary. In fact, it was always your joy to carry the needs of others into the presence of the Lord. And so I ask you with humility but also with confidence to carry mine. Whisper my name before Christ. Let my sighs be transformed into prayers that rise like incense before the throne of heaven. So often my heart has doubted and my mind has grown weary from unanswered questions. I confess that there are times when I wonder if the miracle will ever come, if the doors will ever open, if the chains will ever break. Yet even in those moments of weakness, I remind myself of who you are, Saint Anthony. I remember that countless souls more desperate than I found in you the answer to their cries. You were a man who knew how to trust when everything else seemed lost, and I ask that you teach me the same trust. Help me to rest in the certainty that God's love never abandons, and that His timing is perfect, even when it tests my patience to the limit. The urgency of my need, however, presses on me like fire. It is not something that can be delayed endlessly. My life, my future, my peace depend on this breakthrough. And so I ask you to intercede not only with compassion but with swiftness. Let your voice rise in heaven today, Saint Anthony. Let it echo in the courts of the Almighty, pleading on my behalf with fervor. Ask God to look upon me with mercy, to stretch forth His hand, and to let the miracle I seek come quickly, like dawn breaking through the longest night. You know, dear saint, how fragile the human heart can be. You know how easily despair creeps in, how quickly hope can slip away when days turn into weeks and weeks into months without change. That is why I cling to you with such tenacity, because you have always been a symbol of hope restored, of promises fulfilled, of impossible dreams made real. Let my life too become a testimony of that hope. Let those who see me marvel not at my strength but at the power of God revealed through your prayer. May the miracle I await become a living witness to others, so they too may turn to you in their times of need and believe that God's love is without limit. In this prayer I surrender my pride, my fears, and even my doubts. I place them all into your hands, asking you to reshape them into faith that cannot be shaken. Strengthen my spirit, Saint Anthony, so that even as I wait, I will not lose heart. Teach me to see beyond what my eyes can perceive. Teach me to believe beyond what my reason can understand. Teach me to cling to Christ with the same passion that burned in your soul, a passion that never faltered even in trial, even in suffering. There is power in intercession, and I know that when you kneel before the Lord, heaven listens. You are not forgotten in eternity, but remembered with honor, for your life was a flame of holiness that continues to shine across centuries. That flame, I ask, let it shine into my darkness. Let it burn away the shadows of despair and ignite in me the fire of hope. May your prayer, joined with mine, create a melody of faith that moves the heart of God. And may the answer descend, not tomorrow, not in some distant time, but in this very hour when I am most in need. I do not know how the miracle will come, nor when, nor through what means. I only know that it will come because God is faithful and you are His faithful servant. Let me not be consumed by impatience, but let me also not be abandoned in endless waiting. Find the perfect moment, Saint Anthony, and bring it forth swiftly, so that my heart may rejoice, my lips may give thanks, and my life may become a vessel of gratitude. For the miracle I ask is not for me alone. It will be a testimony for others, a sign of divine mercy that will ripple out far beyond my own need. Saint Anthony, I entrust all of this to you. I believe that even now as I speak these words, you are interceding for me. I believe that even now heaven bends close to listen. And I believe that even now the miracle is being prepared, woven into my life by the unseen hands of God. Beloved Saint Anthony, I come again before you, for my heart refuses to grow silent while my need is still unresolved. It is as though every beat within me has become a prayer, every sigh a plea, every thought a cry for the miracle I so desperately seek. I find no shame in this persistence, for you yourself taught that perseverance in prayer is a sign of faith. And so, here I stand once more, holding my need before you like a candle in the dark, believing that you will not let it be extinguished. Your life reminds me that holiness was never about distance but about closeness. You did not remove yourself from people's struggles. Rather, you entered into their pain with compassion. You spoke to their wounds, you brought relief to their suffering, and you restored their hope. This is why so many turn to you then, and why so many turn to you still. You remain a bridge between the human cry and the divine answer. I pray that you will be that bridge for me today. Let my words, weak though they are, cross over into the heart of heaven because you carry them with the strength of your faith. There are moments when I feel the weight of despair pressing against me so heavily that it threatens to crush my spirit. The burden of waiting is sharp, and the silence of heaven can sometimes feel unbearable. Yet in those moments I remember you, Saint Anthony. I remember the countless miracles attributed to your name, the stories of sudden breakthroughs, the testimonies of impossible prayers answered. These memories are not legends but living signs that God listens through you. And so, I cling to them as anchors in the storm, believing that what was done for others can also be done for me. In my soul I wrestle with doubt and faith, with fear and trust, with longing and surrender. Each day feels like a battle between despair that whispers, "It will never come," and hope that declares, "God is faithful." I ask you, Saint Anthony, to strengthen the voice of hope within me. Let it rise louder than doubt, stronger than fear, and firmer than despair. Teach me to cling to the promise that no prayer is ever wasted, that no tear falls unnoticed, that no sigh escapes the attention of God. You are the saint who understood this truth, and I ask that you guide me to hold it as firmly as you did. Saint Anthony, miracle worker, I place the full weight of my trust in your intercession. Carry my petition to the throne of Christ as though it were your own. Let him see not only my desperation but also your faith in bringing it before him. Whisper into his heart the urgency of my plea. Tell him how heavy this burden has become, how my soul longs for relief, how my faith yearns to be confirmed by his mercy. And then ask him, boldly, confidently, lovingly, to let his power move in my life now, to let the miracle descend, to let the answer be revealed. Sometimes I wonder if I am asking too much, if my request is too great for heaven. But then I remember that nothing is too great for God and nothing is too small for his love. You, Saint Anthony, understood this perfectly. You never hesitated to bring even the smallest petitions to the Lord, for you knew that every cry of the human heart mattered to him. And so I refuse to let shame silence me, I refuse to let fear restrain me, I refuse to let doubt blind me. Instead, I bring it all to you, my fears, my dreams, my need, my longing, and I ask you to transform them into prayers worthy of heaven's answer. The night is long, Saint Anthony, but I believe the dawn is coming. My soul holds on to that belief with trembling hands, waiting for the light that will break through. And when that dawn comes, I know it will not be because of my strength, but because of God's mercy revealed through your intercession. It will be the miracle that I could not earn, the blessing that I could not achieve, the gift that only heaven could give. Until that moment arrives, keep me steadfast. Do not let me fall into despair. Let my hope remain alive even in the shadows. I ask also, dear Saint, not only for myself but for those around me who are also struggling. Let my miracle, when it comes, become a light that inspires them to believe as well. May my answered prayer serve as a testimony that God still works wonders, that saints still intercede, and that no one is beyond the reach of divine mercy. In this way, the grace I receive will multiply, spreading beyond me to touch others who need hope. And so my request, though personal, becomes something larger, a seed of faith for many. Saint Anthony, my friend, my intercessor, my companion in this urgent journey, I thank you already for your prayers. I thank you for listening to me, for carrying my burden, for standing beside me when I feel alone. I thank you for being the channel of God's mercy, the reflection of his tenderness, the reminder that heaven is not far but near. And though my need remains, my heart is already comforted by the knowledge that you are with me, and that God is listening through you. Saint Anthony, my heart lifts again in this moment of prayer, for I cannot grow weary in seeking your help. Each day I carry the same burden, and each day I bring it before you with hope renewed. You, the saint of countless miracles, the refuge of those who have nowhere else to turn, hear me once more as I cry out for the mercy of heaven to touch my life. I know that your intercession has brought light into the darkest corners of human despair. The stories of your miracles are not distant tales, but living signs that God listens when you pray. That is why I cling to you with such trust, believing that even in my brokenness, even in my urgency, your heart will not turn away from me. You are a friend to those who suffer, a brother to those who feel abandoned, and a messenger of God's kindness to those in need. Saint Anthony, I ask you to take this request I carry and place it gently into the hands of Christ. Tell him of my sleepless nights, of the tears I cannot hide, of the longing that fills my soul. Speak for me when my words are not enough, and let your voice rise with power before his throne. Ask him to move quickly, to let the answer come, to send the miracle I seek as a sign of his unending love. While I wait, strengthen me. Let my hope not vanish in the silence. Let my courage not falter in the delay. Remind me that even unseen, God is working, preparing the way, shaping the outcome, and turning all things for good. Keep my faith alive, Saint Anthony, until the moment when the blessing arrives and I can give thanks with all my heart. For this I pray with confidence, knowing that heaven is near and that you, Saint Anthony, stand beside me as a powerful intercessor and faithful friend. Amen.